I was once 15 and in a very domestically violent relationship. I've experienced it and had no one to talk to and let somebody try to come up on me. I dare them. Hey everyone, it's Monica May with Let's Spill the Tea. Let's Spill the Tea is an open conversation for girls and their moms and now their dads who are 14 to 21. We teach you guys how to have non-judgmental. You're not going to hold it against me. Whatever I say is said in a safe space kind of conversation. These letters that come to me, I mean, they ask some questions and I'm an open book, so I try my best to answer them. In fact, we have a teen summit, my very first one, coming up September 28th here at Valencia College in Orlando. You'll find out a little bit more about it, but this one I want to jump into because it's got a couple of parts to it. Dear Monica, my mom loves to give opinions but does nothing to help me. Every time I ask her for advice, I never get it. Instead, she judges me for things that I am quote unquote supposed to know, but I don't. I want to stop right there for a moment. How are you going to know if you've never been told? How are you going to know if the conversation never came up? How are you going to know what to say, what to do in situations that you are afraid to even bring up? You can't know. Now, I don't feel comfortable going to her to talk about anything. So instead, I'm going to ask you. One of my closest friends is being abused by her boyfriend and won't leave him. I'm not sure how to help, and my friend's parents aren't in the picture. I feel like I'm my friend's only safe space, but it is getting out of hand and she won't report him. What should I do? We're only 15. I was once 15 and in a very domestically violent relationship, and I had no one to go to because, first of all, I wouldn't listen to anyone. I thought I was in love, and I learned later that love doesn't hurt. Love doesn't give you black and blue marks. Love doesn't make you do things that you know are wrong, but then they kind of push you to do these things. Love is not like that. And when you talk about domestic violence, I got to let you know that that's something that's very serious. Domestic violence is not only you come out with a bruise. Domestic violence is bruises to your ego, bruises to your emotional well-being, bruises to your self-esteem. See, when a person, and I always say it's a bully who does this because they've been hurt. So hurt people hurt people. And a lot of times when we start getting into relationships too young, we don't know these things. And then we're in over our heads. People see it from outside, but we're living it and we can't see it. We don't see it as abuse. We see it at, oh, he loves me. Oh, he didn't mean to hit me. He didn't mean to shove me down the steps. He didn't mean to shove me into that wall and I got a cut across my cheek. He didn't mean to shove me out of a moving car. He didn't mean to put his hands around my neck so much that he left bruises. He didn't mean those things. I'm saying those things because that happened to me. That was between the ages of 14, well, actually 13 and 17. It lasted 4 years, a very domestically violent relationship. And because you don't know to ask anybody, you're ashamed. I gotta tell you, 1 in 3 teens here in the United States will experience some type of physical, sexual, or emotional abuse from someone they're in a relationship with before they become adults. That's 1 in 3 teens becomes involved in a physical, sexual, or emotionally abusive relationship before they are an adult. So if that's the case, nearly half of all college students are involved in a domestically violent relationship. Listen to those statistics. So we grow up and into domestic violence. We grow up and into a domestically violent marriage. We grow up and into all of these things. So I wanted to give you a couple of numbers. If you're in Florida, then you can call 800-500-1119. 800-500-1119. If you are watching this, I have 2 other numbers. One is the National Domestic Violence Hotline, which is 800-799-SAFE. 800-799-SAFE. This is the National Teen Dating Abuse Hotline, and that's 866-331-9474. Just realize this. You are not alone. I've experienced it and had no one to talk to. I have the scars, the physical scars on my body still to this day of that abuse. I have the emotional scars in my heart. And I always say, can't put a condom on someone's heart. That's a protective measure, right? Can't do that. So you live through it. Domestic violence is nothing to play with. And the reason I say that is because if no one knows, no one will know where to look for the bones. And that person that's doing the domestic violence will know that. So you've got to let somebody know. You've got to let somebody know, well, we're going to wherever we're going on this date. Well, I've already put my alert in my phone so people will know where I am. Let your friends know and listen to your friends. You have the right, if that's your friend, to go and talk with her. And tell her, sis, I know what you're going through. I see it. Everybody sees it. And sometimes that kind of alert will let them know, oh God, somebody's watching. And let them know it's okay. Also talk with them and let them know that they are bigger than that they deserve better. Let them know that they're a child, that they have their whole life ahead of them. And I guarantee you, if you heard those numbers, 1 in 3 as a youngster turns into 43% once you get to college age, turns into all half of marriages are going through some type of domestic abuse. And I keep telling you, don't forget that statistic. Abuse is not only physical, it is emotional, it is sexual, and it is, if it just doesn't feel right, it's abuse. And I need you to think carefully about that. There are safe spaces, and some of those safe spaces you can find from those numbers I gave you. And young lady, I want you to have your friend get in touch with me, and I'll be able to give her some good advice about that. You don't have to stay in an abusive situation. You don't. You can walk. And I am there with you to walk away with you. And let somebody try to come up on me. I dare them. It's not going to work. It takes one to know one. And I can see when these situations are not healthy. A relationship enhances. A person is supposed to make you feel good. They don't take away from you. And they sure don't beat on you, okay? Now, she got a second part to this letter. When I tell my mom something, it is never going to stay between us. Whenever I went to my mom to talk about things that I struggle with, like my self-esteem and crushes, she always goes to the rest of the family to get their opinions. I want to feel closer to my mom, but I can't share some of the darker things that I'm struggling with because I don't want everyone else to judge me for it. How do I tell her that without getting in trouble? When I tell my mom something, it's never between us. She goes to the family and she gets their opinions. And she comes back. Well, she's just telling her business to have something to say. That's something else that Miss Monica despises too. Because what goes on in my house needs to stay in my house. Unless it's something that's going to be beneficial and can help somebody else. But I'm not going to anybody else to ask what I need to do with my own child. That to me is not adulting. It really is not adulting. Moms, we can do better than this. We've got the experience. Or do we? Well, I will tell you this. Mom, if you don't know, you better ask somebody and come back and be able to give that daughter some kind of advice. The other thing is, clamp it down. People don't need to know your business because if they know yours, they're going to share yours. And trust me, if they're sharing yours, they're sharing everybody else's too. So when people say, I'm just telling you this, they've already told 10 people. I'm just telling you now is really what they should say, but they're not just telling you. And you need not tell them anything. People will judge you based on some of those things that you say. So mom, they're judging how you parent your daughter. So they're making fun about you behind your back and letting you know she ain't got it all together. I keep telling y'all, when God gives you these babies, it's time to grow up. They have real life situations and you need to be on top of it. That's my advice for this one. Let's spill the tea some more at info@letsspillthetea.org.